Which reminds me, I need to zoom out.
Zooming and booming.
Welcome to the Trash Cats Trash Cast.
Merry Christmas, you pieces of shit.
I'm Richard.
I'm Steve.
And this week we're celebrating Jesus' birthday. Our little boy born in a manger and given gold by the kings. He smoked the magic frankincense and turned water into wine in front of his cuckold stepdaddy Joe.
We should have aborted that little bitch in the manger. Dude, Christmas is so stupid.
Imagine the different story if they burned Mary at the cross for adultery.
This is a butchered manger of blood. Baby parts. Merry Christmas. It's nice to have you all here. I hope everyone has a nice warm fire going, some light snow out the window, and you're with loved ones as you listen to this episode.
Nice little cup of eggnog, you know.
Dude, eggnog is disgusting.
And for someone who drinks as much dairy products as you do.
I am a big milkman, if I may say so myself.
He's a big mommy milker.
Dude, if I was rich, I have so many plans. All right, I have my fancy pool, my black pool with my hamster tubes.
Your Vanta black pool.
Of various vapors for poolside access, but I also want to have the milking room. Now,
just your own cows and goats. And
dude, just picture...
There's multiple animals you can milk.
Dude, they're all just hooked up by the teat, and you have like a soda machine where you can just press the button and get it just milks the animals, and you can drink straight from the teat.
It's just a nice, warm, thick cup of fresh milk.
Yeah, some frothy Christmas milk.
New tradition, frothy, warm milk.
Just take your milk, put it in the microwave for a minute or two, whip it, little powdered sugar on top. You're good to go.
Little powdered sugar.
That's some good shit. But goddamn, we're off to a very hot start. We got a couple things to do today. We're gonna fuck around because Christmas is bullshit. But first, how was your week?
Week was good, uneventful, which is a good thing. Yeah.
You forgot the whole week already?
Oh, man, mostly.
Was it a traumatic brain injury or?
No, it was just uneventful.
Okay. Not worth writing a big letter home about?
No, honestly, it feels like I was just here a couple days ago recording with you.
You made hot sauce, though? My favorite hot sauce.
That's right, I did do that, yeah.
It was a whole rigmarole you went through.
I found out Keith still has some from a couple years ago that's still jarred. So I want to compare flavors, but the color looked about the same.
So you just stole that and said you made more?
Yeah. Just thinned it out and put it in a bunch of different jars.
Dude, I'm sure it's going to be outstanding. That's my favorite hot sauce, bar none. Nothing ever has came close. It's so fucking good.
And the best part is I had a little sampler the other day, and it is very nice, and it works well with other foods. It is very hot, but like it tames down with other stuff.
Did you have to get the special peppers? I think you did black jalapeno and ghost. You had like a whole thing.
It was a black habanero, I think I got last year.
Yeah.
I didn't end up getting those. What I did get was towards the end of the summer I got a bunch of Carolina Reaper peppers. And I pickled them. So I had those sitting in my fridge for a little while. And then I just used all those pickled Reaper peppers in some of the brine. I still have a thing of brine in my fridge right now, of Reaper pepper brine, and that shit is hot as fuck.
Just pour a little bit into your frothed milk for a kick at the end of the night. A nightcap.
Get some nice curdles.
Yes. So chill week, nothing to write home.
Yeah. How you doing?
Okay. I did have my... Man, I've been running myself ragged this week. I just got back from the doctor. I wasn't joking last week. I really did have to get some CAT scans. And if you guys stick around at the end of the episode, we're gonna review my doctor's handiwork and take a look at these scans. See what's going on in there,
Take a look inside of Steven.
Yeah, let's see what's going on. There were some interesting results. We're gonna get into my physical well-being a bit.
And we're also going to rate Steven's doctor.
God, dude, the amount of fear I had at looking at some of these organs. Oh, boy. But I'm okay. I got a couple years left, so. But the week overall is just, dude, I'm just tired, man. I've been just slowly chipping away at I lost a piece of art, which like happens maybe every like 6 months. I'll lose something like midway.
That fucking sucks.
Normally when it happens, I will not sleep until I get it back. So even if I have to start from scratch, there was a time 2 summers ago I was building pools and I stayed up like 24 hours straight. I'm working on the heat all day. I lose a piece of art in the middle of the night as I'm like finalizing it. So then I have to pull an all-nighter, and it gets to the next night of working. After going out again during the day, I lost it again, and I just stayed up 3 days straight till I
just rage quit,
dude. Just
destroy your computer,
dude. I've gotten so close to breaking so many computers and hard drives, like where you have the hard drive of your life's work over your head, ready to smash it. And you're like, I can't do it.
What's even the fucking point?
Yeah. Oh my god. But it was a piece I honestly wasn't in love with. Like I think it looked really good, but it wasn't. I feel like it met my quality standards, but I wasn't as emotionally invested in it. So every once in a while, you know, maybe every couple of years when that happens, I try to like go with the flow and just zen monk it and let it go. And I think I'm at peace with that because I started something new and I feel better. So I've just had no time, man. Just trying to chip and enjoy the little diamonds of life in the mines of the bullshit. But this week I get tattooed for a couple hours, so hopefully that lets off some steam. But
hell yeah.
Yeah, doing okay. Just frustrated. And I will be so happy when Christmas is over.
Yeah.
Christmas over.
The thing you just said about, you know, finding the beautiful diamond in the mine kind of thing, like it reminded me I just had...
It's like the corn in the poop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got to sift through it a little bit. You know, sometimes you got to get your hands dirty, but, you know, that's life.
The kidney stone in the urine. You know?
I had maybe the closest... I wouldn't call it a suicidal thought. I would call it the closest thing I've had to a suicidal thought in a long time.
To tell?
I'm been trying to remember exactly what it was, but it just flashed in my mind. It was something like either middle of the night or like kind of late, and I was waking up to use the restroom, and I just had a thought, and it was a very existential, something along the lines of like, it's like, why do we even bother when, oh, fuck, I don't remember what it was. This is all going nowhere. But basically the point of it was I've long, you know, gotten to the point where it's like, I'm not going to commit suicide. I feel like it's not the way I want to go. And it's just not, I don't see it as an option. So when I had it.
You're old though.
I mean, we'll see, but
okay,
you know,
I want you to make a commitment.
Yeah, I need to commit now.
Now, was this thought? Did it have anything to do with buttering bread by chance?
It did not.
Because I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter how well I'm doing. If I have to butter a cold piece of bread, I'm thinking about killing myself.
Okay, that's fair.
Every single time. What a miserable God made this world if we had to butter bread.
You gotta leave the butter out on the counter.
Bro, it just chunks. The bread's destroyed. Oh, God. Don't get me started on the butter.
It's all bad. No, it was, but the way I reacted to it was initially just like, oh, that was funny. I kind of laughed at it and realized that was probably one of the darker things I've thought about in a while.
That's actually a good feeling. Sometimes. Yeah.
But, you know, you can have a little chuckle about it to yourself and you know, realize like, oh, wow, that was...
Like you're a rapper looking back at the days when you were broke before you made it big.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Oh, man, I remember when I was suicidal all the fucking time. Look at me now, butter and bread.
Look at me now. It's just a day in the life, huh?
Big time in it over here. Dude, I know that feeling, though. As a previously constantly crazy person, having the occasional thoughts that are super crazy is like, it's pretty surreal because you're like, holy fuck, I was this way all the time.
Yeah. This is, and it's almost bad when you think about it that way of like, this is commonplace. And it's like, not so much that you think about it like that all the time, or you think those things all the time, but it's like, you're numb to it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just normal.
It's that awareness of a little bit of mental illness showing.
Yeah, exactly.
You got a little
excuse me, sir, your mental illness is showing.
You need to clean that up. Could
you maybe zip that up, please, sir? Thank you. You're in public. There are kids here.
I have a little Christmas present for you. A little
do tell.
Christmas experiment, if you will.
There's nothing I like more than on Christmas than experimenting. Go ahead.
I love Christmas experiments. So I was thinking back. I was pondering this Christmas concept, right?
Yeah.
I was being very intellectual, very, very smart.
Galaxy brain over here.
Yeah, I was big time Christmas brain in it. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking back to when you're a kid and you write letters to the North Pole.
Yeah.
Right? What kind of psychopath teacher does that to a kid? First off, let's start with that. Now, second, I was curious, where the fuck do these letters go? So I'm clickety-clacking on the interwebs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 2155 Reindeer Road or whatever. It's like a real federal address set up where all the UPSs in the country use it as a code to send all of the fake Santa mail.
Yeah, I actually know that part.
Yeah, so I was thinking,
wild.
I was thinking to myself, what if Santa actually mailed me back? Hear me out. This is we're gonna do some Christmas war games. We're gonna get into war tactics and strategy. Okay?
Always battle.
We're gonna raid the North Pole. Now let me tell you how we get there before we get into your war tactics on Santa and his elven slave army. Okay?
Yeah.
So 25 years pass since you wrote that letter to 2445 Reindeer Road. And Santa writes you back. And it's a nice little note. Calls you a young boy over and over again. It's kind of weird. He keeps saying that. But you realize there's some impressions on the back of your letter. And you think back to that old CSI episode. And you get the graphite pencil out and you do a graphite rubbing, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You could tell Santa was writing something else on top of your letter. He wasn't even focusing on you. It took him 30 years to write the damn note. Now, what you uncover, like a fucking detective hat all the way on. It's a note to Mrs. Claus.
Okay.
The note goes on to read that basically him and Mrs. Claus are on the outs. They're having some marital problems. And Santa, after last year's Christmas deliveries, is going to spend the year abroad. They're basically separating. So Santa's gone for a year.
The year in the Dubai or Turks and Caicos or some shit.
Yeah, and he says to Mrs. Claus that he'll be back next Christmas to pick up the presents that the elves are working on, and they can talk in person then. And it's dated and everything. He also called her a slut, which would seem a bit extreme.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Santa. But so this is the data you have, okay, yeah. Sherlock. So you know Santa and Mrs. Claus are on the outs. That's point A.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big one. Point B, you know he's been gone from the North Pole for 1 year, and he will be returning in 1 week to pick up all the presents.
Mm-hmm.
Point C, and this is the big one. It has the address of Santa's workshop.
Mm-hmm.
You know where to go. So, all right, so I got the address, right? We got our 3 pieces of information. I'm on Google Maps. We're going to key this is top secret. I can't share this with them. We're triangulating.
Triangulating the frequency.
Triangulating. And got it. We're hacked into the mainframe of Santa's workshop. Okay. Now, we know he's not going to be back for a week. We know he has droves of elves crafting toys. And I believe with the perfect plan, we can get to the North Pole, free the elves, and take them as our own elf army and do as we will. We could steal Santa's elves. We could ruin Christmas.
Okay.
This is the last bit before I let you go. We've done some hypothetical, what would you change in the world if you had unlimited money? Yeah. Right? We've played that game. That's for losers, okay?
We did that, but that's for losers.
Yeah. We're in the big leagues now. So the question is, let's make it an even number just for simplicity. 10,000. If we can get to the North Pole and defeat whatever safety mechanisms Santa has going on, we could steal 10,000 elvish slaves to do what we will. What could we do to change the world? Or what would you just want to do with 10,000 elves? So first things first, you got to get to the North Pole.
All right, you said we have $10,000. That's what we have to do it?
No, you got nothing.
That's 10,000 elves. We have
the
nothing.
goal is to get resources. The 10,000 elves, and then we're going to decide what we want to do with them. And boy, do I have some ideas.
Well, see, that's... Okay, so he's not there, but here's the thing.
He's coming back in a week.
I would imagine... Okay, so we're following hypotheticals here. My first thought was going to be that they're a highly secretive operation that probably has, defensive technologies, beyond our scope, based on the fact that he's got the technology to hit, every Christian household in the world.
They got guided land-to-air candy cane missiles lining the perimeter.
So my thought is unless you're rolling in with a stealth bomber or something, you're probably out of luck.
So what would
we're probably looking at a Wakanda scenario where you're going to be traveling around it or overhead, and you're going to look down, and what you're going to see is not the Santa's workshop. It's going to be snowy debris and nothingness.
So how about this? Give me your best theory to attempt the workshop. So we're in the Midwest, and we got to get to Santa's workshop. Give me your best synopsis on how you could think it most plausible to invade Santa's workshop. And you can have a couple people, you could have a small team, but it's just basically you. We're trying to get into Santa's workshop to incite the rebellion. I think we should go in style. I'm thinking we pose as foreigners and we take an Alaskan cruise. That gets us halfway there. And we can have a nice, relaxing vacation in the meantime. Once we're in Alaska, we hire that movie, The Gray? Those special forces guys that snipe wolves? I say we hire a team of elite snipers, and then they can ferry us in to the poles.
All right, now here's my question.
Okay.
If we're talking, it's at the North Pole, which the North Pole is not on a landmass that we can see, right? It's in the middle of the Arctic Ocean.
I don't think that's true at all.
That is very true. That is not, the North Pole does not exist on a landmass. Yeah, the North Pole does not exist on a landmass.
This is purely.
Are you talking about magnetic pole?
No, but this is purely my ignorance. Aren't there land masses? I know our maps, when you look at a map of the globe, right? A 2D map.
Yeah.
They're not accurate, right? Asia is way bigger.
Right.
And I know there's a southern pole landmass.
That's Antarctica.
Right.
Yeah.
But isn't there also some sort of landmass in the northern pole? It just might not be as big as a continent.
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Is part of that problem?
There are the farthest northern land you can get to, which I think is somewhere in Greenland.
But when you get to the top of the map, you're at the bottom of the map.
Or Siberia or some shit, but there's not
But where's Antarctica? Because the bottom of the map is the top of the map on a sphere.
That's not true.
It wraps, bro. The bottom's the top, depending on how you look at it, bro.
You're saying it wraps the other way.
Yeah. All right, well,
Antarctica, it's like all like jagged on the one side where it meets the coast, and then it's just real flat.
Where are all these fucking penguins coming from? Either way, there is a big ass iceberg with a bunch of penguins and peppermints in the North Pole. We're going.
Okay. So let's go with that. So there is an island that is in the Arctic Ocean.
Yes.
That is not depicted on our globes and maps and whatnot, because either one of two things is true. One, the government is hiding it from us, or they are hiding themselves from everyone, including the government.
It's Santa's stealth tech.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he clearly
his magic stealth tech.
It's
Santa
not magic.
Santa would be a wizard, right? Like, he deals with elves, and elven.
He seems like
good with magic.
More of a sorcerer to me. Yeah.
Okay, so sorcerer means he's got that's warlock. I was going to say he's no, a sorcerer makes sense because he's got a natural innate ability to do magic, so that does make sense.
If you say so.
I played Dungeons and Dragons. Someone out there is agreeing with me.
Dude, I held back that nerd that lodged itself in my throat. It was hard to hold.
Oh, no, that's fine. I know I'm a nerd. That's fine. All right, so we're going for a sorcerer.
Okay.
That lives at the North Pole.
Bro, we just got to get to the whole question is, what do we do with these elves? But we got to get there first. So what's your how are you getting there?
That's the question, is how do we get there? So
this is the first part of the question. We got
I know, and I'm breaking it down. I'm trying to understand the question. I don't want to just spit out gobbledygook. I'm taking this fucking seriously, Steven. You asked the question. I'm trying to give a good response. Alaska's might not be a bad spot to go. It would probably be the easiest for us to get to, barring like
take a nice cruise to warm up for the raid.
I know my passport is not current enough to like get a tour to northern Greenland right now. So Alaska might be our best bet.
Yeah. So
let's say we make it to Alaska, no problem.
Okay, we're cruising, drinking on the boat, chilling, getting ready for war.
So we're rolling up to this island there. I mean, I don't know. Will we flank them? Will we take two boats? Is it just you and me? Is it just, we're just army of two in it?
Yeah. Well, maybe we take a couple stray dogs. Like we steal some of the other cruise people's dogs.
Yeah.
And we make them mush. And we
don't bring dogs, we bring raccoons. Just large, fat raccoons. And
Alaskan raccoons. The biggest, strongest raccoons. So we're making a mush. All right, we get to Santa's workshop. We made it. It's been a hell of a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the crazy part. They have all of this high-tech shit. Barbed wire fences, big iron gates.
All right, let me give you this.
Here it is. But all the elvish sentries, all the guards on patrol, they're all in a fucking trance. They are zapped out of their little elvish midget minds, just zonked out. They're a mess. They're just on autopilot. Santa enspelled them. They don't even know you're there. They're basically zombies. All of the elves in the workshop are just grinding their fingers to the bone, just bleeding all over the toys as they make them. They're just like fully automaton Manchurian candidate mode.
Okay.
They don't even notice us walking in. And Mrs. Claus, she has sleep apnea. So she... she's clearly a piece of shit. She can't even hear us get in over that stupid machine. So we're in the factory, no problem.
I'm picturing you and me and a bunch of raccoons all in wetsuits coming up out of the Arctic Ocean, SEAL Team 6 style.
With ghillie suits.
Like kind of taking aim at some of the guards and shit, and like they're just not noticing us and we just keep moving.
They don't notice at all. We're going to seize Santa's throne, but let me give you a little background information on elves.
Please do.
I don't know how familiar you are with the elven race.
It's more than any man probably should be, but continue.
So these elves, right? They're about 3.5 feet tall. They're real stumpy motherfuckers. They got the pointy ears.
Oh, these are like Keebler elf style.
Yes, dude. They be living off of cookies, right? They are fueled purely by powdered sugar cookies. And they craft well. They have very dexterous hands.
Yep, continue.
Very nimble fingers. They wear big, tall hats. They're basically lobotomized midgets. So that's what we're up against, or what we will have if we control them. Okay, they're like, it takes like 3 of them to make a regular person. So they're like worth a third of a person.
Okay, cool.
So you spot Santa's throne, right?
Yes.
It's got some crazy control shit, and you pick up Santa's scepter, his sickle.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know, Santa's famous for his sickle. That he beheads the bad reindeer that don't listen. Like, we all like to pretend there's one Rudolph. The thing is Santa kills so many reindeer every year.
It's a fucking bloodbath.
Every fucking year. You know when you see like a deer on the side of the road and you're like, oh, I got hit by a car?
Oh, yeah. That's
no way.
Santa's Santa dropping one off.
So you steal Santa's scepter.
Yeah.
At that moment, the spell is broken. All their eyes clear up again. They shake it off. They're confused. They don't know. All they know is that Santa hurt them. And they are so grateful to you. And they pledge their allegiance. And this is so fucking stupid.
No, I'm waiting. I want to hear this because I'm waiting for you. You need to write this book.
Yeah. So they pledge their allegiance to you, and they are your devoted army of elves, and they will do whatever you want. If when Santa comes back, you want to cut him up piece by piece, 10,000 elves got your back, and they'll do it. They'll cannibalize Santa for it. They're angry elves. They're South
As they
Pole
should
elves.
be, right?
Yeah.
They'll cannibalize Santa.
So you have your elvish army. If you want to sustain your army, you have to have a certain percentage of them constantly baking sugar cookies to feed the rest of the army.
That is true.
But aside from that, it's pretty much free reign. You can do what you want with these elves to impact the world however you wish. I have some ideas, but I'd like to see where you take it, and then we could throw some out. This is a classic philosophy problem.
It really is.
You're throwing bodies at a problem. You got nearly unlimited manpower in the shape of tiny elves.
Now here's the thing. It's a lot of elves. You can take over.
You could breed them
all of Congress with that for sure.
You could breed them or milk them for that special elf milk.
You got to make sure you're hooking the milking receptacle up to the right place. But
that's how you get the best cookies.
Get that frosting.
Elf milk.
Fuck, man.
You could go Breaking Bad and have the super meth lab elven meth.
That was going to be my next thing, is like drug cartel.
Yeah, like if they can make cookies and toys, they can make some meth.
Let's bring back real drugs to America.
I was just reading an analysis of fentanyl to the US, because fentanyl almost solely goes to the US at this point. And it's like a funny joke to the narcos in Mexico that they sell us the fentanyl because they get hooked up with it from China. And it's basically a bunch of other countries that think it's funny we're all hooked on fentanyl and they don't sell it to their countries.
I mean, yeah, that absolutely makes sense to me.
It's a pretty good joke.
It's a pretty good joke.
Just a good little goofer. You know?
Yeah. April Fools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that would be...
You could march on the Vatican, bro.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. The elf occupation of the Vatican.
You could turn them all into little fireflies and burn every church in the world.
Okay, no, actually, that's a thing anyways. Honestly, Santa might back you up on that, because the war on Christmas is like Santa and his capitalism versus the church and no one's talking about the birth of Jesus because they're all talking about like the gifts and the presents and the
right. I mean,
it's the war on Christmas.
American folklore.
They've been preparing for the war against the elves for a long time. So that might be
but I bet all the
a little harder than expected, but I think it's definitely achievable.
But don't you think the priests like the little elves?
That is true. We might have some casualties in the way of that.
Maybe a little conflict of interest there, but
yeah.
But we could embed the elves as fake choir boys all across the nation until one night they strike and burn.
All at once, the great bloodletting of all the priests.
Yes, dude. Elves would be perfect for murdering priests. They look so cute and shy. It takes the priests off guards. They're reeled in by these young boyish charms.
Think of the
candy cane.
Think of the new Christmas carols and stories that would be spun. It'd be like the medieval songs and tales of wars and battles, but it would be elves murdering priests in the Vatican.
Bro,
cardinals.
Now I'm only thinking about narco shit because, dude, one of the coolest things
I mean, you could do both. They're magic. You can do both.
But one of the coolest things ever is the gangsters that die and they get the song. There's a word for it, but they get the special songs, the odes to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like their gangster story. But there was recently one about a monkey that this Sicario had in a bulletproof vest, and he gave it guns to bring into battle.
That's fucking wild.
And like, it was like a little spider monkey thing with a bulletproof vest, and it died at the hands of an FBI agent or some shit that shot it to death in a raid. And now there's like actual songs about this monkey.
Jesus Christ.
How cool is that?
This fucking planet we live on is wild. We are a crazy fucking species.
You could put all these elves in the zoos.
I wouldn't want to do that though. There's more worth to them.
You could pimp them.
I mean, I think there's more worth to them than that too.
They're elves, dude. Who the fuck cares? They're not.
No, I'm not talking about the worth of their person. I'm saying the worth of what they can do, what they can accomplish.
You could harvest enough candy cane to feed all the homeless and poor.
I mean, you could definitely do that, but I mean, really, the narco shit's almost the best option. They can build like toys and stuff to smuggle drugs in.
And their little elf pouches. Like kangaroos have pouches, so do elves.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when they're
man, yeah, think of how quickly they could build houses. The rent prices just drop
straight through the floor.
We install an elf in every major city where rent prices are getting out of control, so that they can at least once a night shoot a gun into the air to keep the rent prices low.
Our elven enforcers, kind of like Elf on the Shelf, but for property. And we do real Elf in the Shelves.
Yes,
we have a little elven sentry in every little.
He sits atop the highest building in every city. Like fucking Batman.
With a golden AK.
Yeah. That they have to build themselves.
Now, here's one. I did think. So you don't want to pimp them
This is how Dark Souls bosses start. I was going to say, instead of just an AK, they all get to build their own weapon that, fits their personality. And that's...
I just kept picturing how cool it would be to be a pimp that wears all Santa gear. And you pimp out a whole army of little tiny elves.
Just a red velvet suit, like white fur trim.
Oh my god!
All white chinchilla trim.
But if you don't want to do that, what if we use the elves to breed reindeer? Okay, hear me out. Okay. We breed thousands of reindeer, and then we start doing the real experiments where we try to make a reindeer elf centaur.
I'm picturing...
Bro, you got Nazi supervillain powers. Like, we can do all kinds of experiments on these stupid little elves.
And what you're saying is, like, embrace them.
Yes. Embrace your dark side.
It's like the first experiment isn't even, like, through, like, the breeding doesn't go well. So it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to cut off the bottom of this guy and sew it to the top of this reindeer. Fucking human centipede style.
You see a reindeer dashing down the street with an elf body, like, hanging from the side.
Oh, that's so brutal and wrong. Oh, God damn it.
Well, let's get through a couple more of the evil ones, and then... And then if you want to be a good guy...
No, continue. Go ahead.
And then if you want to be a good guy, we could try to figure out if we actually had the man... Like, we built pyramids, right? I mean, like, I physically helped. We built pyramids. Like, we could do some crazy shit with human, like, muscle, body power. So, we could do some good shit, too. But, how cool would it be to do the Colosseum Games with thousands of elves battling to the death?
Oh, damn.
And you could upvote them or down... We could have the whole country upvote or downvote them on Instagram. If they
live or die. Live stream it.
Yeah, dude, imagine, like, a
Twitch streaming.
A bunch of hyenas fighting... What do you call a group of elves? A little swarm? What do you call
a gaggle?
Like a murder of a gaggle of elves? An orange of elves?
An orange of elves? Why orange?
Or an orca of elves?
An orca of elves. I like that.
That's an orca of elves. We could, have a pack of hyenas versus an orca of elves. You could be on the Caesar's throne in your Santa gear.
Well, I guess no, they can use their magic.
They don't have magic, but they got brains. They got tech. They're like hacker gnomes, basically.
Okay, you're just making shit up now. I mean, it's all made up, but okay, you're right. No, continue.
Do you think this is real?
No, you're right. I'm basing it on lore, obviously, but...
Well, I mean, if you wanted to be...
Oh, you know what? I take that back, because if you got all these elves making, all these toys and all these gifts for people, like, that means they're making iPads and shit too, right? Like, so... They know about hack. They know about hacking and shit.
They know how to bend the circuit boards. And yeah, they got tiny little nimble figures. They can... Yeah, they're smart. And if you wanted to embrace that, you could invest in elvish tech. And you could try to do an elf NASA.
Ooh, yeah.
And bring the elves to the solar system.
Be the new Elon Musk.
I mean, Elon he's actually 3 little elves stuffed
just stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
That's why his face looks like that.
Oh, it's getting weirder and weirder each year. he's changing under that.
His reptilian scales are showing.
Yeah. I mean, what else are aliens? They're basically like foreign elves, right?
Oh yeah.
You could donate all the little elves to the medical science, use them as cadavers.
Not as like, hey, put these elves in hospitals. They're very useful and they can do wonderful things. Just donate the bodies to science.
Rip out that adult elf's lungs.
Murder them all and donate them to science
for a child's lung transplant.
I'm pretty sure these are all AB positive. If they're O positive, I think you can put all these. You can use all these parts.
What if in our elvish research we found out that elves' blood was like the ultimate blood type? It was like O omega
or O positive. It's omega.
It's elf omega blood.
That's my new energy drink. My Christmas energy drink. It tastes like peppermint and eggnog mixed. This is largely dairy-based. It's also a protein drink.
So what good things would you do then? Because I'm going to do all of the bad ones because I don't give a fuck about elves.
I mean, we already listed all the good things. Build houses and install elves inside the medical facilities to create tools and things that they need and also bring drugs back to America.
What about building shit? You have an army. Would you attack Russia? Would you build houses or like, I don't know.
No, I mean like at that point I see like the problems of the world are now not my problems anymore. If I have an army of
just because you're a warlord?
Well, no, because I have an army of magical elves that have abilities. They are magical. They have access to magical resources at least. To say that they're not magic.
No, they're just far ahead of us in tech.
Okay, so what you're describing is no longer elves. What you're describing is like
they're Keebler elves.
They're fucking gnomes. You think all them elves make all the Keebler elves make all of them fucking cookies and they're not magic?
No, they just have a really hard work ethic.
Producing cookies out of their tree homes. I don't think so.
They have families to feed.
Get fucking real, Steven. I think at that point, even if we just go with they have good tech, it's the next thing is like, all right, let's leave this place. We have an army that could withstand, that could fight could take over other, armies, no problem. What we're looking at is we have technology now that we can go outside of the bounds of our solar system, the bounds of where we've had to stop before. I say we further that conquest.
Right. So like if you're the Santa warlord figure and you make elf NASA, and these elves don't have to sleep the normal amounts, you can work them to the bone, you can abuse them as much as you want, you could achieve interstellar capabilities far faster than real NASA ever could. SpaceX has nothing on the elves.
This is basically like real life Kerbal Space Program.
So would that be your game plan? Like you want to work them hard and try to advance?
We're exploring the cosmos.
But then are you going to explore them with elves? Like are you going to bring elven life to a new planet or do you want humans?
Well, that's the thing. That
is the thing.
So elves have a longer lifespan than humans do, so they can withstand that long travel through space.
Yeah, their bone they might get real osteoporotic or whatever in space. Their bones may crumble, but they'll make it to Mars.
Yeah, they'll make it there.
But then you're just farthering them.
No. Fuck Mars. We're not sending them to Mars. We can get to Mars.
But then you're just farthering their race.
We're furthering our understanding. That information's going to come back to us.
But
I'm not trying to like build a colony of them on, a planet. I'm trying to send them out to bring us back information. We send them out, whether they come back or not is less of a concern. It's like when they sent the dogs and cats and monkeys and shit into space. They're relaying information to us from, through a radio signal and whatnot.
So like
we would not be able to get otherwise.
So when you get the rest of the humans there, that first colony, do you then genocide the elves?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let's say we find a good planet that looks like it's worth colonizing. Then we work on sending the humans there. We're definitely going to bring elves with us too, because they're going to be, they're useful tools, right?
Would you consider interbreeding the elves with the humans to make like a super race?
I don't think I would
druids
necessarily have to consider it. I think that's going to happen naturally.
People do love fucking things different than them.
That's true.
That is a thing, though. Like,
it's very much a thing that people like to stick their dicks in something that doesn't belong to them.
You put it that way. Jesus Christ.
It's been the entire human existence.
But like for real, people built pyramids, right? Like that's pretty incredible. But when you think of it, I mean, what's a fucking pyramid? It's just a stupid rock palace.
Yeah.
If you had unlimited muscle power, I'm also struggling to come up with things that are non-nefarious to do.
Like, when someone says, hey, you have an army, what do you do with it? The connotation is already there. If you have an army.
But armies can do good things.
They can do good things.
It's just rare, right?
Yeah.
What if you were an army of gardeners?
You liberate the oppressed nations, and you instill, a working system that, that takes policies and other shit too. But
we could try to take out China's Skynet.
There you go. Yeah.
Like a real Total Recall, but with elves.
Just overnight operation of like sneak in. Fucking, snip all the camera cables, destroy them, destroy the network that collects data, and yeah. Can you think of? Give me one. I don't know. What's your golden goose plan? What's your?
I really think if I had a race of people that that did not count as real people.
That's it. That's fictional and imaginary.
Yes.
And not at all real, and it's not racism. And
not at all symbolic of, like, truly. This is no, like, lizard people.
There was about halfway through this conversation, I was thinking, maybe we need to scrap this whole bit, because it just sounds like racism. But it just sounds like slavery, and it's bad. Like, okay, we're going to take the slaves from Santa Claus, and we're going to free them, but we're going to use them as our own slaves and make them do our bidding.
But if I had a fantasy race of little creatures that there was like
they want to do it. They want to make you happy.
No, there's there's no morality, right? Like this is like a free pass on Psycho for me, right? Like they're not real. No one cares about what an imaginary elf feels like.
Well, some people do, but continue.
Imagine actually being offended and caring.
Yeah, I know.
God, their life.
Imagine hearing this conversation and being like, you can't say that about elves. What are they saying?
Dude, I mean, I would absolutely love to Coliseum games. To find the most creative way to kill a bunch of tiny elves. You could, like, that Lemmings game?
Yes.
I would want to, dude.
Give them a maze to get through.
Here's one of my imaginary games I often play. You line up 10,000 elves, right? And you build like a Mario style like cannon, one of those big bullet motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And you see how many elves you can shoot it through down the line. It's like the mobsters where they use like a 22 cal and a phone book against your chest and they see what letter it gets to. I want to see how many elves I can put a cannonball through.
You're testing ammunition on elves is what you're saying. I
am testing the limits of physical science in our world.
You know what that sounds like a lot? Like a to a T what that sounds like. It's exactly what Japan did to China and Korea.
Well, if they did it on elves, we wouldn't have these problems.
They did it on these fictional characters. This wouldn't be an issue anymore. No one would have been mad at Japan if they used elves from the North Pole instead.
You could just do so many fun. Like, I love the idea of violence without real world consequences.
Yeah,
just sounds like so much fun to be a villain. Especially wearing Santa's gear, holding his scepter.
And you call D&D people nerds.
Yeah. There's something worse because I feel like...
when there's lore involved.
Yeah, like, when I think of people who actually think elves are real, I get a little bothered.
That's different. No one... I was going to say no one that plays D&D thinks that, but that can't be true. I would say most people that play D&D are not of the thought that this is real.
No, they think it's like wrestling. They think it's so real. They're like, if I could just get my dwarf to a stronger level, we can combat Sauron.
I love I was actually just thinking of this like 2-3 days ago. The arc in my life of like when I was a little kid, I fucking loved pro wrestling. And then there was a time like when you grow out of it, like you do, and through my teens, like unless you aspire to like do that in your life, I feel like that's the only person that's a pass of like, all right, cool. You can continue to like this through your teen years.
Sure.
And then when you get old enough to be like, oh, there's a lot of like, you realize, okay, these are like actors. These are all buff actors. And some of them aren't as good as other ones. But like the roles that like they're stuntmen and actors that are putting on a show that, because the goal, maybe not the goal for all of them, but like you look at all the wrestlers that get into like movies and shit, and it's like they're making way more money. Are you about to say Elfish Pro Wrestling?
Yes.
Yes,
you're the head of it. You're the head of Elf Wrestling.
Oh,
Federation.
Dude, fucking tables, ladders, and chairs matches. Dude. Fucking Hell in a Cell.
You would be... What is the old owner, the guy that's in trouble now? Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon. Is he in trouble for one of the various wild shits that he did?
Yeah. Things are catching up with him. I mean, I think that he's still okay, but there's like all these like sex abuse cases right now.
That absolutely tracks.
There's like
he just looks like a guy that would.
Well, it's like the whole male on male wrestler sex abuse. It's like
oh wow,
whole thing where like the old guys take in the new guys. It was like a whole thing during the 90s and stuff, but it never got like a ton of press. Very interesting.
Yeah.
But you could be the head of the Elf Wrestling Federation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm down with that.
They could do so many cool moves because you could throw them really far.
So you're talking, your mix, we're combining the Coliseum games.
Hey, it's your monkey. It's your circus.
So it's like 6 elves against 1 regular size guy.
That's what you want to do.
I mean, you said you could throw them really far, but I'm thinking like, could an elf throw an elf really far?
No, of course not.
I think in that analogy, you're saying
yes.
You have a regular sized man.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, why not? They do it in sumo.
A bunch of tiny elves sumo wrestling would be fun.
No, I guess they don't do a couple of people against the one. That's not how they do it, but...
Elves versus raccoon matches.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'd be cool to raccoons. Those are real.
I don't care that much. I had to consider it. I didn't really think
that's our mascot. That's our namesake. It's the OG trash cat.
If I could take in a raccoon and give it a Rocky-style training montage, pump it full of steroids, and let it wrestle an elf, you bet your bottom dollar I make that call every time.
Let me ask you this, and I think I know the answer already, but let me pick your brain.
Okay.
If you could use, you use Santa's scepter, but it doesn't just work on the elves. You can choose an animal species.
Okay.
Or plant. I'll give you that too.
Ooh.
Species to control at will. They obey your every word. They will accomplish any task.
This is wonderful.
Amass in any size army that's possible based on population. What do you go for?
Now, if you pick like a cat, like a house cat, do you get tigers and shit too? Like how does it work up the family tree? The genus Catus species.
There is some nebulous, but it's not a lot. So like if you if you're like aiming for domestic house cat, you're probably going to get some bobcats. Yeah, maybe a little ocelot in there or something every now and then. But
that's on the house, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Fuck, I wouldn't go cats, but I feel like this is one of those things where like ants is like the most most effective thing.
I was thinking mosquitoes.
I don't want to be an ant boy.
No, and mosquitoes is like you could do a lot of damage with mosquitoes, but
what if you had all the mosquitoes gather all the blood you wanted?
Ooh, yeah.
And you could make a blood lake where you swim in your enemy's blood.
Contract all the diseases at once.
You could make super disease lakes to throw your elves in to see what happens to them.
You could at your very will give someone a life-threatening disease without, lifting your finger, without...
Fuck, dude, that'd be so cool.
And then no one would know about it. It wouldn't even have to be a swarm of them. It would just have to be like one.
To be like a covert plague bearer in your real life would be so cool. Anyone who's rude to you, you just give cancer right away. This
is another super nerd thing. One of my favorite things you can do in Skyrim was there's a suit of armor you can find that when you are nearby an enemy, it poisons them.
That's cool.
Like just by being near them, you are poisoning them. I was
like a psychic vampire.
Yeah, it's fucking really cool. So I was thinking mosquito would be like the most brutal one you could pick, but that also if you could control plant life,
poison ivy.
Poison ivy would be dope. I was thinking like mushrooms. like
opium,
spores of mushrooms. Yeah, just fields of poppy that just
they're leaking all the time. Like wherever you walk is a continually growing path of poppies that are already like leaking opium.
Yeah,
you're just wherever you walk, you're just like rushing through the opium fields. Oh.
Johnny Opium Seed over here.
That is like my actual heaven. Oh my God.
Always the purest.
Thank you for thinking of that. That is, I'm going to think about that a lot later.
Yeah, it's gonna influence your next couple pieces of work. That's I saw I think it was fucking Hank Green or somebody talking about like the biomass of all living things on the planet, like mammals, reptiles, like all that shit, like animal kingdom shit, is like less than 2% of the biomass. It's like the rest is all like bacteria and shit. Like even like mushrooms outweigh us.
Elf poop.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all elf shit.
Dude, so what animal would you do? I feel like you have to do something soft. Snakes would be fun though too. But I feel like you want something soft you can like cuddle with.
I mean, definitely. When I brought up the thing, like rats and raccoons were like top of the list of like, and that's another, like rats is another good plague one of like, you walk in, a city and it's just a swarm of rats.
Because rats can be dirty, vile, and cute and cuddly.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a very bipolar animal.
Yeah. They have two settings, and it's vile and disgusting or cute and cuddly.
They have to go through a lot of therapy to get through their daily life. So rats would be, I feel like I would still be drawn to cats.
I'm surprised you didn't say hyena. I know that's like
it is my spirit animal.
Yeah.
I feel like a true hyena wouldn't want to be around other hyenas. Because we're too alpha,
Yeah. Don't they travel in packs?
Not this hyena.
Not this one. I'm a little different. I'm not like all the other hyenas.
I'm more of a painted dog, if you will.
I think, I do.
They have to smell, though. That's the thing, is if you're going to be with that animal all the time, you want something soft and like that makes a good companion, too.
I mean,
it's like choosing the right Pokemon,
Anything that shits is going to smell.
That's what I was thinking. Like, snakes would be cool, but like if you had snakes all over, you'd be like covered in like this big pissy snake ball all the time, Cats at least know how to use a litter box.
Did you hear the scientists discovered that snakes have clitorises?
Dude, I saw a lizard dick this week. Have you ever seen a chameleon's dick?
No.
Dude, please Google it. Okay. I'm sending you this. Dude, it looks like an alien. Like it actually is like forked and splits, and it has these sacs of spikes that swell up. It's like, it looks like an alien, and it like grows out of it.
Jesus Christ.
Like it looks crazier than I could have imagined making up a fake alien dick.
I had to figure out the way I was going to put this into my search engine.
I'd love to hear what you decided on.
I was going to type in chameleon penis, and I thought, I don't know, that seems odd. And then I thought chameleon genitalia, and then I thought, no, I need to be more specific about it.
I'm going straight chameleon penis and seeing what
that's what I did, and that's what I ended on.
Dude, this isn't even a crazy one. There's some lizards where it's like,
it's very wild.
I'm gonna
say alien.
I have a whole documentary on this. I'll send to you.
And I get what also comes up. I've got multiple things of pipes.
Yeah, I keep seeing meth pipes. Yeah. Makes sense. Meth heads love lizard dick. Dude, I knew this one guy. So there are some reasons that injecting a drug into your dick can make sense. Now, generally, it does not make sense. And it would be like a last resort, or
you got socks on and your arms are covered, and
Normally, it's all your other easy to hit veins are like scarred out, or you have an infection, like infections, or like some serious problems where like getting a good clean vein is hard.
Oh, believe me, if you're injecting drugs into your penis, you have some serious problems.
It can happen. But I knew this one guy. So there's a thing with uppers and meth in particular, because meth is not what people think it is. It actually is like a pure confidence and love. It is like a supreme confidence and embrace of the world. It's very odd, but it makes a lot of people instantly horny, and that's why it's used in these sex communities as a like party drug. And I knew this one dude. He would just shoot it into his dick to come.
Oh,
that was his thing.
Oh God, that sounds terrible.
Because like your body starts developing responses, and like a ton of heroin people, when you shoot up like normal, is like the only time you'll get a boner. Because like your body's so like junked out, not working correctly from the opiate abuse, but like you develop a sexual attraction to your drug, and then when you get well is one of the few windows of time your body is also responding properly. It's somehow those signals get crossed, and when you inject your drug like normal is like the only time you're getting sexually aroused. And then like some people get really far into it and they just shoot stuff into their dick to come. Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like all the, we were talking about porn earlier, all like the typical male porn stars, like 60% of them, 40% of them take like Viagra and stuff, but like the other 60% inject basically like a liquid form. It's called like cicatrix or some shit into your dick to stay hard.
That's fucking wild. I mean, I
like
knew that they'd
norm.
have like, you know, probably took like Viagra or some shit, but that's crazy.
It's probably like 50-50, but most of the like eventually Viagra's not quite cutting the cheese. So you inject this stuff in your dick. They make it for people with like heart disorders and stuff. And every once in a while people have like bad reactions to it, and then they're like in the hospital, and I get to see what's happening. Speaking of which,
I'm sorry. Our conversation, I started re-looking at the North Pole shit, and looking at the spaces around it, which would best serve as a base. And I'm on Google Earth. I'm just looking at these islands outside of between Alaska and Russia
to plan your elf and D-Day invasion.
Yeah, I was looking for like where's a good one that actually has like life on it, because most of them do not. They're just, you know, mountainous, and there's not much like natural terrain with which to live upon. Sure. I found Bering Island. It has an airport. I don't see like housing anywhere except for like near the airport there is a road. None of this is important or any important to the podcast or good. Oh yeah, there's a whole city.
Well, I was just wondering how it tied back into meth dick, but
oh no, that's just what my eyes were doing while, you know, learning about meth dick. It's just for some reason I started thinking about Russian islands, and yeah.
I typed in North Pool instead of North Pole.
We're winning. We're doing it.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a lot of editing, but we got some jokes.
Yeah, we got some jokes in there. That was fun. It's good. Good Christmas, you know, a balance, something to listen to while the your Yule log burns and the mistletoe over the doorway.
Yeah, and speaking of medical conditions gone wrong, dude, you want to look at this CAT scan?
I would love to.
Okay, so let me set the scene on this a bit. So I've been having at times severe abdominal pain for over 6 months now. And I actually remember when it started. And it happened to be the weekend I visited you.
Oh no.
Like unrelated to anything. I remember it starting then. and it was very minimal. And since it like waxes and wanes, it moves around. There's different things that make it better and worse, but it's internal. Like, I truly don't think it could just be muscular, because I feel it around certain organs, and depending on how I treat it, it fucking moves. It's very bizarre. It's been ongoing. Most of the time it's okay, but it gets pretty bad. So I've had to take like 3 afternoons off work to go to these appointments, keep trying to get it looked at by somebody, not having much luck. So I've missed multiple days of work. I go for my third appointment, and they finally are taking it seriously because it's been going on for a while, and there's some other symptoms I don't want to go into that suck, that they can tell something is going on, right?
Right.
So they're like, fuck it, we need to actually get a CAT scan, right?
Yeah.
Now, I can feel this pain right now. Like, it's not severe, but it is there, and it's inside my abdomen. Like, something, it's gone on long enough. I know something is wrong. I just don't know if it's like serious or not, or like what exactly it is. But I can feel it, like, currently. Like, something's fucked up. I injured something, or have some sort of internal process going on. So they finally tell me to get a CAT scan. For this scan, when all was said and done, I paid $100 a minute for this scan. And that's with insurance covering. Insurance covered 60% of it. Still
Jesus.
cost about $100 a minute. It was only like 4 minutes. It's like $400. Now, to put that in perspective, to get that money, I'm spending most of a full week of work, not the full week, but most of a full week of work coding other people's medical charts.
Yeah.
For my job. I have really good insurance. I'm looking at other people's medical charts. I'm making decisions, not incisions, that would be bad. I'm making decisions about how things should be paid and charged based on their medical charts for nearly 40 hours. Spend my whole week doing that to pay for one scan. And these are the results. All right. Gotta open my chart. What a lovely app that is.
Right.
What great things our medical system does.
Jesus.
So, let's see. Now, what was crazy, like, I just had this scan done tonight. They got me, I came from there to here to record.
Like just hours ago.
And yeah, and they got me the results on the drive back home. Like, a radiologist had reviewed the scans and got the results and interpreted them before I got home from driving back. And I haven't even looked at all of it yet. We're going to read it live on the pod.
Oh, good.
Let's see if I'm dying. I know it's nothing, I know they didn't get anything super serious, but I don't know the full details yet. Test results. Okay. So I had to fast for this, just a little bit, but I had a CT abdomen pelvis without contrast because they were being a little cheap. They didn't go for the contrast. Just had a regular one, right?
You can add that in post.
Yeah, of course. So narrative impression, history, abdominal pain, acute, non-localized abdominal pain, left upper quad, intermittently 6 months, left upper quadrant pain. Comparison, none. Technique, non-contrast multiplanar CT images of abdomen and pelvis. Computed tomography, so instead of just getting one view of something, the whole scanner circles you and basically takes hundreds of images that give a better 3D representation. So it's a CT scan. Findings. All right, we're going to go through the organs. Like, this is a dumb elf I'm experimenting on. Lower chest. Unremarkable.
Rude.
Dude, you beat me to it. That's what I was going to say. Unremarkable? That's rude as fuck.
Yeah, that's...
Jesus. Liver? Unremarkable. Not a mark on my liver. That's impressive.
That's pretty good.
to not have a blown out, flabby, scarry liver.
Yeah.
After all the things that I'm impressed. Like, part of this was very relieving. Gallbladder / bile ducts. Unremarkable. Jesus. No opaque gallstones. I got no gallstones. And if I was a betting man, I put all my money on gallstone going into the scan. I got no gallstones, bro. It's not right.
You're without the stones.
No gallstones. Pancreas, also unremarkable. No masses or duct dilation. My ducts are tight. I got tight pancreatic ducts. I just pictured like ducks.
Yeah, that's exactly what I pictured too. That's exactly why I laughed.
Spleen, unremarkable. Adrenals, unremarkable. Kidney / uterers. I have no hydroporosis or hydroureters, no renal or uteral calculuses or calculi. So I got no stones.
No
I got
no
stones, no calcium buildup, no obstructions from said stones breaking off or water pressure from stone. Nothing.
Let he who is without stones cast the first stone.
Honestly, though, like, these are the things that I thought I for sure had. Like, there's no way. This level of pain it gets to, I figure it had to be related to an obstruction of some sort. But my next guess has been muscular from my job turning all day. This is the first time I've ever sat all day. I've never had a sitting job ever. Mm-hmm. And it's been a year and a half. And I turn all day to that same side that hurts to look at the second monitor. But it's just so weird because the pain isn't, it doesn't feel muscular. It feels inside. So I don't know if I'm like straining something by sitting and turning a certain way. So I thought it for sure would be like a gallstone or kidney obstruction or something. GI tract, unremarkable. No obstruction, no wall thickening, or pumotus.
They're saying your poop walls aren't too thick.
Paper thin GI walls. They're paper thin, no thickening at all. Normal appendix. You can see Series 901, image 60, if you need proof for that.
Oh, good.
My vessels.
We'll link that in the Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. My vessels, also unremarkable. No aneurysms. I got no aneurysms. That's cool.
Congratulations.
It's nice to know. Lymph nodes. No
lymph nodes?
Ain't got none. Not a single one. No, unremarkable. No enlarged lymph nodes. Now, what's interesting about that is I know they're wrong because I have multiple enlarged lymph nodes right now. They didn't catch them.
No.
And I wasn't going to tell them about that.
Maybe they're not enlarged to the point that they're concerned about it.
No, they're on my head. I get lymph node
you would expect
infections.
them to maybe say slightly enlarged or something.
Your boys got blown out lymph. Like a bomb went off in those lymph nodes. No, it's weird. I have like super reactive lymph nodes. Like if I get a cut, my lymph nodes get set off.
Ew.
Yeah, like they're like super. They're pretty cool. They got my back. Always looking out for me. Give me warning sign.
Yeah, you know.
Abdominal wall, unremarkable. Bones, unremarkable. Other, I think it's just so funny. Now, here's the one thing that screamed at all. Pelvis. Pelvic pleblosis. I know that's not how you say it. How do you say it? Pleb for veins. And
they called you a pleb.
Plebelus? Plebelus? I know it's stony
I don't fucking
veins.
know.
You don't know what a plebelith is? So
is that the full name of when you call someone a plebe?
It's when you have tiny calcifications or masses of calciums within a vein. So they're sometimes called vein stones. So
Jesus Christ.
So the thing is, though, is they're like super common. if you scan the average person, it still says this is considered unremarkable. If you scan the average person, a ton of people have veins that are slightly calcified in their pelvis. And supposedly it's from lack of muscle support, because your pelvis is like self-contained and you're not muscularly supporting all the veins in your pelvis all the time. So it's just like slight hardening of veins. Now the thing is I don't have a detailed readout on that, and I wonder if that could be related to anything. Like if this last year being the first year of my life I'm not as actively moving, if my like pelvic veins are hardening. But I don't feel like that's, and they wrote it was also unremarkable and non-abnormal. So I don't think that could be like the whole like reason for pain.
Right.
But I thought that could be interesting because it could tell me something that's going on there.
Yeah.
To have hardening of pelvic veins. All in all, spent basically a week's pay to get inconclusive results.
To get basically roasted by doctors.
Yeah, and that's
to tell you your pelvis is unremarkable.
Unremarkable pelvis. Yeah. Very rude. But isn't that crazy though? Like spending that much time, especially I'm spending my work time working on other people's medical charts, to spend that much time on my life to get a scan that took 4 minutes and cost me a week of my life.
Yeah.
To get no results.
That's still wild. And the worst part about it is, you know that because this information came from a doctor, that you know it's irrefutable and correct. You can sleep well knowing that there's definitely nothing that was ever missed or...
Oh, I don't know. It was a scan. I feel like they got a clean scan. Like
I definitely... I say that so much in jest, but I feel like that's the worst, is knowing that, like, when it comes back and like we couldn't find anything, and it's like,
yeah,
did you not find anything because it wasn't there, or did you not find anything because I need to have someone else take a look at it?
Right, like maybe I needed contrast and a better scan.
Yeah,
you know, like that. See, that's the thing.
You gotta bring us $400 more.
Right. I do feel pretty confident. Like nothing major is wrong. Like I do have some relief from that. Like at least there's nothing like serious. I don't have like an internal bleed that was causing like an ascites or some type of shit of blood pulling up. I don't have a tumor growing in my side.
Yeah.
Like the big things I don't have to think about anymore. But it is frustrating because now I feel like it's going to be impossible to get both. It's going to be difficult to get answers. And now it's harder to get doctors to take you seriously when you have evidence that contradicts how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you had that experience where you're like, hey, I know something's with this, and all the tests show something not what you think it is.
Yeah.
And then like 5 years later, you get proof, and it's like they made it such a pain in the ass along the way.
I had, growing up, we thought that I had like a dairy allergy and shit like that, and I was passed around by so many doctors that were like, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen a reaction like this. And
right. Yeah.
Years go by through my high school of just a misdiagnosis before I finally go to a dermatologist that's like, oh yeah, that's seborrheic dermatitis. Like just kind of looks me up and down and like knew it right away.
Yeah.
And I was like, but what does that have to, like, what about the dairy allergy thing? And she was like, you might be allergic to dairy, but it's got nothing to do with that. Like, just so matter-of-factly like that. I was like,
just one smart person who knew their specialty.
Yeah. Yep. And then later on, I had a different experience in Florida. Fuck, what was the one I was just about to say? So this was the one when I was throwing up for hours and hours on end, multiple nights a week. I couldn't sleep because I would just throw up. You know, I would vomit until I had nothing left in my stomach, and then I'd just spend the whole night throwing up bile and stomach acid and shit.
The kidney stone?
No, that was different. That was we couldn't figure out like why I'd be up for hours of the night just emptying my stomach. And
How long did this go on?
This went on for a while. This was a few months at least of like, it wasn't every night, but it was, like a few nights a week sometimes. And it would be,
I feel like
it was fucking brutal because my throat my esophagus would always hurt because I'm just throwing up fucking acid and shit.
They call it esophagus after it burns away your throat too far. Because there's like people with GERD that their throat is all scar tissue and they need like reconstructive throat surgery and shit.
Yeah, that's kind of what they amounted it to at first, and they gave me like things to like help curb that while we, were waiting on like eventually I went in and got a endoscopy. They stuck a camera down my throat.
Yeah.
And they came back and they were like, there's no ulcers, like there's some like it's sore and like upset, but that's because you're like throwing up vomit and shit, or you're throwing up
what was it? You've told me this, but I can't remember.
So what it ended up being, like, we exhausted a bunch of options, and one of the things that could cause extreme cases of that, they were like, it could be stress. And sure enough, I kind of evaluated that, and I broke up with my girlfriend at the time. And then after that,
that's insane, dude.
Yeah, after that, never happened again.
That says so much.
Yep,
that's crazy.
Spent all that time and the money, and what the results were like. We don't have it. We're not showing anything that would cause it, which was relieving. But it's like, well, then what is it? And it's like, you've exhausted all their options. Is it just stress?
And it's psychomatic, bruh.
Yep.
I've had some of those kind of stress reactions, and it is crazy because there's no way you would initially have believed it was just stress. No,
right? Exactly.
Shot. It's too extreme, but your body really will compensate that way.
Yeah. And it's like I'd mentally gotten used to the stress. I'd been with them for a while on and off, and it was like, it's just too much.
See, that's why part of me could believe like this is actually just like a super inflamed, even if it's like an internal muscle, like muscular thing, or like the starts of an ulcer related to stress or something. Like, it's frustrating because I hate not knowing, and I hate feeling like I'm not believed because I fucking hate the medical system, but I'm like forced to interact with it. And anyone listening who thinks I sound like an idiot, I learned all of my medical coding stuff by myself online. I can't pronounce anything. I can read and understand shit, but I can't pronounce anything.
Your shit. It's medical shit. It sucks.
It's all, pleblasis. I know plebe is vein.
Latin bullshit.
Lith is the calcify or stonify. Stonify.
I did a lot of that in high school.
Well, it was a pleasure slaughtering elves with you before the new year. What's the new year's going to look like for Trash Cats 2023? Send off on a good note.
I know we got a nice interview coming up.
Got 2 nice interviews.
Yeah, you're right.
Dope. Yeah, we're going to start fucking around with the interviews. We need to start getting more music again. We haven't had people send us music as much. We need to get back in the DJ game. Probably do some more art stuff for sure, like more honorable mention stuff. I don't know. I feel like we're on a good flow though. I like what we've been doing, and I think it's just gonna slowly but surely. I feel like we got what we're supposed to do. It's just gonna grow and scale.
Yeah, we'll keep
good year.
We'll keep giving you something to listen to when you're on your way to and from work.
Yeah, we'll be your little podcast slave elf, just locked inside your phone, singing a podcast spell to you,
toying away at the Audacity coal mine of our life. Thanks again for listening, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys. This was dumb as fuck.
It was super stupid and fun. Thank you to approaching.
Next week we'll do something slightly more serious.
Slightly. Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thanks, John. Look forward to talking with you on the podcast soon.
Fuck yeah. I'll make sure to check out the show page at TrashCatsTrashcast on Instagram for news and art from the show. Check out Facebook for the memes.
If you're super bored, you can check out my trashy art on Instagram at Skyzix, SKYZSCX. And I think that's it. No honorable mentions. We got some cool stuff next week, and I think it does it.
Yep, that's going to be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat trash. Free the elves.
Free the elves into our own employment.
From bondage they shall be delivered.
God damn.